Hello, today we will try to briefly understand all the problems of America and also try to understand what possible solution can be. So this video is very important to understand this global purpose, and here we will talk not only about the problem but also about the solution, because if you are an investor, a trader, so if there are any problems going on in the big house, if there are any problems going on in the big family, then first talk about the peace of his house. Then if Sarve Bhavantu Sukhnako Kratarth, if we move in the direction of what to do, then we will be able to do our own good. Let's start with forest by forest. First, try to understand Trump's promise and his reality to the American people. Look, Trump had promised in his presidency campaign that he would reduce prices, but that has not happened there yet. Prices are an everyday thing. Now, if we talk about inflation, then it remains as it is, and this has become a big concern for the Republicans, who are the party there for republicanism. If inflation is not reduced there, then the voters who voted for the Republican, who can blame him that, brother, your political situation is looking very weak. The promise you made is not being fulfilled. And if we talk about Trump Sahab, where is his focus? Their focus is not on these inflationary prices. You may also be seeing that if in the global state, their focus is being seen more on federal worker or diversity program, reciprocal tariff, foreign policy, foreign plan. However, economists who are economists. He says Republican leaders want Trump to focus more on inflation because it remains the biggest problem for the common people. Now, if we try to understand the impact of Trump's policies, then some of Trump's plans, such as imposing tariffs on foreign imports and increasing prices, lower prices in your country, inflation is being controlled in this direction. But from this, if we talk about eggs in America, for example, in everyday things, if we talk about it, then there is that record due to bird flu. But when the eggs reach, this is also a matter of great concern, and a country like America, where we talked about pharma, that is not the case in America. Did you go to a medical shop and take the medicine you wanted? Like India, there are many broken rules and regulations, and the people there also comply with the policies of the government with very good tolerance. So even if a small thing is expensive, then a big trigger factor becomes there. Then after this, if we talk about this small example, if we talk about the big example, then the energy process, energy prices, that is also a big reason for inflation. Trump Sahab believes in himself, and he kept focusing again and again. If you listen to his statement, he will take it back again and again. If oil companies drill more, inflation will come down. But this plan is also not going to have much effect, and at least if you believe the data that the economics are saying, then they are saying that if you are putting so much emphasis on fossil fuels, then something is going to happen much more than that. Otherwise, what is the real concern of the Republicans? Trump's advisor, who is an advisor, he also said there is a need to talk more about inflation. But whoever Trump is, whoever he believes, then his attitude is very indifferent, due to which there is now political pressure in America or on the Republicans or on Trump, in which there is a lot of political pressure on that. And if these conditions do not change, then the concerns in America can deepen. And if we try to understand the overall situation of Trump in totality, in which if we mention the economic policies, his stance on inflation or his approach is becoming a big concern for his own party. In a way, it is clear that the activities that you have done here, Mr. Trump, are not very welcome in his party, and due to which there is instability in a country that is being seen in policy making. Then now what Trump Sahab did and what he argued with was exactly like in a train carriage. Or do we sit and debate over teapots? You will also understand that factor. Then now what Europe is talking about forming its own alliance and forming an alliance of its own 2 or 4 countries and giving military support to Ukraine. And if this happens, then somewhere Europe or the European alliance will need America's military. There is a great need in terms of service. If it does not happen in future, then this is also a matter of big concern, brother. If 4 or 5 countries form their own group and say, brother, you do not need it, you keep your 14-8 separate. We will handle things in our own way, and if we try our eyes, we have our own military alliance of 4 or 5 countries, and this angle is only understandable if it is limited to Europe or the US. If this suggestion is true, if something really happens that some 4 or 5 countries in European countries come down to the role of metric alliance, then tomorrow the same will start happening in Asia too. I am not saying that India and Pakistan will come together with China, but in Southeast Asia or in South Asia, somewhere such groups will start to form, which small countries now accept the Chaudhrat of America as real because they need America for military equipment or military enterprises. And America also just keeps on speculating that the two countries should be provoked and their ammunition should be sold to them. The formation of military alliances in Europe is another big concern for America, and here too, Trump's policy, which he was playing the role of a mediator, Ukraine blinked the eyes of vigilance and told him that, brother, don't do too much. If we are clear, if we are honest, we will say our words on the sting no matter what the consequences are, and even though Ukraine is much more pleasant. It is not in the situation, but this military alliance must also be stabbing America somewhere. Moving forward, if we talk about the US's own respect, the force is not being able to move even on them. Let me tell you another interesting thing you must have seen. When DeepSeek came, what DeepSeek said there. And we've tried that many times. We couldn't find NVIDIA's chip, and then we made a deep look on the resources we had and showed it to you and the world. But now an interesting news is coming out that the US media is saying that NVIDIA's AI chips are reaching China. However, the US has imposed restrictions on many exports. They are ordering the Blackwell chips that are through the third party, which shows that despite the restrictions of the US, despite the eyes of Trump, America is not able to control its own restrictions somewhere, and traders like the tech hubs, if you look there, then Malaysia, Vietnam, and we are ordering servers from Taiwan and hope to have them by mid-March. Due to which, if the entire total order book is seen, then the order book is around $3 million. So again, this factor is also related to AI, especially after the deep look. Joe has been killed. The frustration that was seen a lot in America is also the factor of AI. The situation is not good for America. The big family of big meaning is being scattered so that they can do whatever they want. But in order to obey its arbitrariness, the market that has been created in the global state seems to be contrary to it. Let's talk about another factor which is not getting relief in the US, but you understand in terms of reciprocal tariffs. In 2024, the goods trade deficit of America had reached about $1.2 trillion. This has become a big challenge for President Trump at present, due to which it came to his mind to impose brother tariffs and impose these reciprocal tariffs. Or why is it that whatever tariffs are imposed, at least its own trade deficit has a trade deficit surpassed? When you buy more goods from other countries but get less in between, what did they do? Canada and Mexico have announced 25% tariffs, which are likely to take effect from Tuesday. But the major trading partners of the US, including Canada, are Mexico. This is it. When America observed the data of its trade deficit with more than 100 countries, they saw that Vietnam and India are also included. And why did this happen? Now, this happened because in the case of trade deficit, you have been buying more and getting less in between. These countries have, within just 1 or 2 months, responded to trade deficit signs by preparing for increased trade. Preliminary January figures show the goods deficit rising from December's record $123 billion to $153 billion. It reached $1 billion, and this happened because the company exchanged as many goods as possible before the tariff was imposed. So even at the present time, the data of this tariff is going to come. Even if we hold the data and America hopes that we will get to see positivity from here too, then this is not happening because Trump opened the cards first. And as soon as the cards were opened, other companies of the world have done all the actions they had to do. Then it may be in a long run that they will get relief in the tariff, or this administration will be happy because of the tariff. But the data that is going to come in the near future is not going to be very encouraging. Then what is the solution? What is the solution? The solution is to cut federal spending. Meaning, if you want to reduce demand and inflation, then reduce your expenses. You will reduce expenses, demand will decrease, inflation will decrease in your country. What will happen from this? The interest rate will go down, but by doing so, the dollar will also come down a little. Now, if the US or the Trump administration is willing to accept that let's spend ourselves, well, the dollar will come down, but will that also end or decrease? What happens if the dollar goes down? Your imports will decrease, your exports will increase, the trade deficit will also decrease, and the trade deficit due to tariffs. Anyway, it's not solved. You saw that you imposed reciprocal tariffs. You impose tariffs on another country in the world that gives you cotton. They impose tariffs on your technology. So is this any solution? Not if the US budget deficit of $1.8 trillion is brought up to $302 to $500 billion. So the trade deficit can improve substantially, and with that, America should also expect this even too. It should also not oppose the fact that countries like China or Germany bring Stromless programs in their company, which works towards boosting the manufacturing here. The US should not be worried. See, you cannot create a monopoly on any one goods or any one service in any one form. The world has come a long way. Technology is no longer the domain of any country. So if this little survey Bhavantu Sukhna came to consider Jesus as our eternal, if there is such a philosophy, if America continues to believe in this business or global economy, then this is a solution that will benefit all countries. At least traders who are investors whose portfolios are being made, some ointment will be applied there. So these were all the concerns with America, and in the face of all these concerns, which in a nutshell can be an effective solution, JISCO economists are also baking. So this is the solution to see now. Trump will accept this solution or not. What are your thoughts? However, the reciprocal trip to Canada and Mexico from tomorrow is expected to increase global uncertainty. Right now, Thor is not seen in the Indian perspective, at least by looking at the decline of any market or any index. Tell me what you think, because it takes a lot of energy and a lot of time to research things on this kind of global perspective, compile it, and then keep it with you in a concise and simplified way. So please give feedback and think of yourself and your portfolios in a different global perspective. If you want to know why or something we discuss, the doors of the comment box are open, and we will meet you very soon in the next video. Take care of yourself and your portfolio. Thank you very much.